Hello, lovely people. Terrific Tuesday to you. I'm Koi Wire. Thank you for spending part of your day with us right on. CNN 10, the best 10 minutes in news. Now, we have to start today with some sad and concerning news out of North Korea. Experts say that North Korea's chronic food shortages are growing, and so is the number of citizens potentially dying due to starvation. Trade data, satellite images, and assessments from the United Nations and South Korea suggest that the nation is grappling with the lowest food supply since the famine of 1990s, a famine that caused mass starvation, killing hundreds of thousands of people. Experts say that the current food shortage is likely due to complications from the COVID pandemic, 3 years of closed borders and strict isolation, as well as floods and storms, which upset planting. North Korea is a self-isolated and very secretive country, so it's difficult to assess or prove what's really going on there. Experts say that equal distribution of any available food there is unlikely because the elite and military are prioritized. Now, despite the food shortage, which few experts deny, North Korea continues to spend money on missile tests instead of food and refuses aid from neighboring countries. Here's a CNN Paula Hancock with more. Concerns about North Korea's food crisis are growing. Reports from multiple sources are deaths due to starvation are likely. Probably its worst points in the famine in 1990s, which killed 3 to 5% of the population. Attentions are being paid at the very top. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un held a workers' party meeting this week, calling for a fundamental change in farming and state economic plans, but many say it is his regime, its chronic mismanagement and isolation that had caused this crisis. We're really taking about 3 years of no import of fertilizer. There's been no input of tools to components to fix the outdated machinery that they have. An extensive shutdown of borders due to the COVID pandemic meant almost no food or aid was getting into the country. Only in recent months, as minimal trade restarted with China, South Korean officials said last month they believed deaths from starvation are occurring in certain areas, though provided no evidence. Its Rural Development Agency estimates that the North food production dropped almost 4% last year from the year before. Food has dipped below the amount needed to satisfy the minimum human airlines, so as it stands by this measure, even if you distributed food perfectly equally, which is totally inconceivable, you would have hunger-related deaths. Speaking to South Korea's foreign minister last week, he said Pyongyang has to decide to help its own people. The only way that North Korea can get out of this trouble is to come back to the dialogue table and accept our humanitarian offer to the North and make a better choice for the future. The regime's focus remained on its nuclear and missile program. Seoul's Minister of Unification says if Pyongyang had used the money spent on launching missiles last year for food, it could have been brought 1 million tons, more than enough to cover the annual food shortage, but that focus is unlikely to shift. As the time goes on, the capacity for North Koreans to endure hardship becomes harder and harder. The resilience, runs up and there. The resources also decrease. Now, 10-second trivia. In biology, a complete set of DNA is an organism is called what? Genome, chromosome, genetic code, or interphrase. Genome is a term for the entire set of DNA instructions for a cell or organism. Thanks to recent breakthroughs in genetics, scientists say they will soon be able to bring back prehistoric creatures that have been extinct for thousands of years, who could see a woolly mammoth roaming the earth in as little as 4 years, according to researchers. Now, woolly mammoths were the huge, hairy-looking elephant type beasts marching through the ice age snow about 10,000 years ago. On company Colossal Biosciences says it plans to reincarnate the mammoth using gene editing technology in a process called de-extinction. And they're either extinct creatures scientists could bring back as well, like the Tasmanian tiger or the dodo bird. But should they? As you can imagine, there are plenty of ethical questions about their recent genetic advancements. Here's CNN's Rachel Crane with more. Your body contains 37.2 trillion cells, and within each is a copy of a code consisting of more than 20,000 genes and billions of strands of DNA. This code is your genome, and it determines everything that makes you you. What if you could modify that code, bring back extinct species, eliminate hereditary diseases? This is precisely that molecular engineers and geneticists around the world are working on. George Church, genetics professor, Harvard Medical School. Genes are what we get, and we're stuck with them, and the environment is the only thing we can change, and there's kind of a limit to how much you do. But now, if we can change our genes too, but really in much closer to total control of our biology and physiology. George Church is one of many using a revolutionary gene editing unique technique called CRISPR-Cas9, which allows you to modify DNA sequences. CRISPR is a way that you can design and target a particular part of genome and change it to someone else, or you can delete a gene. You can make all sorts of edits very precisely. CRISPR is kind of like having the find, delete, replace function for DNA. No one actually invented the process, it happens naturally. Scientists discovered that bacteria alter their DNA to define against viruses, essentially storing part of a virus so that they can finally target and attack the virus if it comes back. Researchers realized that tools bacteria used to do this were Cas proteins, nature's genetic scissors. Genetics are now using these proteins to make their own targeted genes to DNA. Scientists have been messing with genomes for years. So what's the big deal with CRISPR? This is dramatically different. It's like 10,000 times easier. They can be used in agriculture, where you can change any plant or animal, can be used to eliminate invasive species. But what's more exciting about CRISPR is our ability to outer long-standing epidemics like malaria or HIV, and that could potentially save millions of lives. So here we grow human cells, elephant cells, who do cloning procedures. It turns out that you can make pretty pitties by tweaking small strands of DNA by making changes to the DNA of the Asian elephant. Researchers in Church labs are working to bring the woolly mammoth back to life. It's like really long, but I'll continue reading anyway because I found this kind of interesting about how to bring back the extinct animals to life by using some kind of advanced technology to alter the DNA strands. The difference between a woolly mammoth and Asian elephant is actually quite subtle at the DNA level. When am I going to see a woolly mammoth at Jurassic Park? Right, so an actual full woolly mammoth, I think, is still a few years down the road. We'll just change one gene and then the next gene, and then soon we have thousands of genes that are changed. The elephant cell, which have the exact same DNA sequence as the woolly mammoth cell. Paint this picture of what the future looks like as a result of CRISPR in your eyes. I suppose the widest description would be that you have 150-year-old people that look like 20-year-old riding on a mammoth. Is that wild? But CRISPR is not without controversy. If you can make a mammoth, consider what you can do with a person's DNA. For the first time, scientists in China use CRISPR to edit the genomes of human embryos. People fear CRISPR could lead to designer babies. How do we prevent that from happening? We shouldn't be playing, we should be engineering, and I think that's what we're doing. What do you think the moral and ethical boundary is? Safety. I think safety is number one, just like new technology and new drug, or should we try to make it as safe as possible? If you don't know anything, then people are definitely going to die of malaria next year. A lot of people are going to die of HIV if you don't do something. If you focus on why it's useful, then that changes the conversation too. What's alternative? And for today's story, getting a 10 out of 10, ice cream lovers that not be denied treats. This Dairy Queen in Markham, Minosia, opens every year on March 1st, no matter what the weather is. And if you've ever been to Minnesota in March, it's not warm and toasty. These fun-fit fans lining up on opening day, all bundled up, ready to dominate some Dairy Queen blizzards in all sorts of snow. I scream, you scream, we'll scream for ice cream no matter what the weather. My favorite flavor is Oreo. Well, at least for now. What's yours? I want to give a special shout out to Springdale Middle School in Springdale. Ashkins Rise Up. Also, for all the students out there, get you some teacher time this Tuesday. Go on and dab up your teacher. Give them a handshake or a high five. Let them know you appreciate them. See you tomorrow, everyone. I'm Chloe Wire, and we are CNN 10.